pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Morgan Township meeting, October 23rd, 2018. Can you get a roll call, please?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
And Mr. Butler is out of town for business.
Alrighty, I will make a motion to approve the work session minutes from October 9th, 2018.
We'll make the motion to approve the minutes for the, as soon as I can find them.
How about a second first?
The second first. Do you have the listing of the?
No, second on the minutes I just said.
Oh, second.
Okay,
Mr. Updike?
yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
You want these?
Got those. Got it.
All right, we'll make a motion to approve the minutes, October 9th, 2018.
So made?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the warrants from 10/10/2018 through 10/23/2018.
Motion made?
Let me finish.
He's got to read all the numbers, Jeff.
Well, okay.
He's making the motion.
He's making
Okay.
the motion.
735-2018 through 763-2018, warrant number 8835 through 8854 for a total of $36,234.68.
Second?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Alrighty, and we have two people from the audience tonight here. First, we'll go with Carrie Novus with Ohio Plan.
Yeah, you got, it goes across the recording. Gentlemen, you have the renewal proposal and the side-by-side comparison from Watarma and the Ohio plan that Carrie gave us.
Alrighty, so, we did your renewal quote this year. What the Ohio plan, and really why I'm here, other than to go over that, is for you, Mr. Kolb, since you're a newer trustee, to be here and answer any questions that you might have about the plan, coverages, and things like that. As far as the Ohio plan goes and any changes, we really just updated our forms to be a little more cohesive with standardized insurance wording, ISO, if you will. It's still our own proprietary forms. They're just a little more in line with standardized insurance wording. We also added a coverage called social engineering, which is a crime coverage. The best example of this is, let's say, Connie receives an email from the chief, and chief tells her to send a $10,000 check to whomever. She sends the check. You discover that it was actually a fraudulent email. It was a phishing email. It wasn't a breach to your system, but Connie sent the money. That was a crime loss, so we have coverage for that. We include $5,000 in the policy. I think you guys, you're not a big township, so Connie's going to question any type of email that she would receive from that. I think she's smart enough to do that. So we determined that it really wasn't necessary to increase it, though if it's something you think you need in the future, I think we can do limits up to $100,000 for that. And other than that, we did the usual 1.5% increase of your property and inland marine values, which is your equipment and your building and your contents and things like that. I came up, about a month ago and sat with Connie and the chief and Rob, and we went through the application, made changes as we needed, added equipment, deleted equipment, increased values on things, and so The changes that we determined ended up being. Really? There we go. So your property values increased by a little over $57,000, and that's the 1.5% inflationary increase. The scheduled property, which is your equipment, increased by $40,000, which includes a 1.5% increase plus any changes that we made to the schedule. I think we increased the values of a couple of items to better reflect a current replacement cost. Your computer equipment increased by a little over $1,000, and then we have one additional vehicle this year that we had this time last year. Overall, your rate decreased. It was a slight decrease, so you're probably better off saying that it was a flat change in the rate. So the premium increase overall is due solely to your exposure increases. So your expiring premium last year was $27,716. This year, it's $29,203. Your Advantage credit is $1,579 this year. Last year, it was $1,942. For a total premium this year of $27,624. Last year, expiring was $25,774. And again, the amount of total increase after everything is $1,850, and that's all exposure.
Could you explain to them, Carrie, what
The Advantage credit?
yes, please.
So the Advantage credit is basically a rebate that we give back to all members who are part of the Ohio plan. You're vested after going into your 4th year of membership. You guys have been members since 2006. It's based on your loss ratio and on your risk management practices. We have a risk manager who comes out. I think Greg came out this year, sat with everybody. He checks out all of your activities, how you guys run everything. He probably sat with the chief and sat with Rob and just making sure that you guys are doing everything you're supposed to be doing in order to minimize your potential for loss. You have 40 points eligible for that, or you're eligible for 40 points. You're getting a perfect score of 40, so you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. From a loss ratio standpoint, you have 60 points available. You're getting 21. Connie and I discussed this. That's going to improve next year. There's a loss from the previous chief who, when he backed into his own vehicle with a township truck. And then there is one open claim. It's from when the engine was left outside, frozen. That's actually being subrogated. That's not going to fall on you guys. So once that's closed and has been fully subrogated, that's not going to affect your Advantage credit at all. So you should actually see a higher Advantage credit next year and a better score on your loss ratio.
You have any questions on it?
No questions on coverages, what we do for you?
Sounds good.
Okay,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
no problem.
So you need a motion, correct?
I need a motion to renew, yeah, and then that'll cover the PO.
I'll make a motion to renew the Ohio plan for a total of $27,624.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes,
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
and thank you very much.
Thank you.
What- no. Okay.
Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie. What number is that, Carol?
104.
Okay, thank you.
And next we have Marcy Longenecker from Ohio Checkbook.
In the treasurer's office, actually.
Okay. All right, so she's gonna do that. I'm gonna move out here so we can watch. Or, yeah. I'll just move out here.
First of all, thank you for letting me be part of the agenda this evening. I know really a great tool. We've gotten great feedback on it. And 3 months after we launched this site, we were re-ranked by USPIRG, which is a research group, to #1 in the country. We've maintained that #1 standing for 3 years, and we just got a lot of support for that. So what the treasurer thought is, well, we built the platform, we have the mapping created, so we can very easily offer this to local governments because we truly believes that taxpayers should be able to follow their, where their taxpayer dollars are going in a very user-friendly format. You have access, and with this, you have access 24/7. So if you go onto Ohio Checkbook, you can go to the top here where it says local governments and schools, that tab up there, and you click on that, and that will open up the map that shows all of our partners that have joined us for Ohio Checkbook, and we have over 1,400 of those. So as you can see, each of these little pin dots have some large numbers in them, like 23 or 12. If you click on that, it'll keep drilling down into the area, and then you'll see a new grouping of pin dots. I'm not gonna do that tonight, because really the easiest way is to, if you're searching for a certain local government, which of course includes school districts, cities, villages, libraries, townships, courts, soil and water, you name it. So you could actually put a name in there, like Montgomery in the Cincinnati area. You could put in Montgomery, it would come up. So we'll just put in the one that I want to demo to you is Wayne. So see, I just have to type in a few letters, and it shows everything that begins with Wayne. Well, in a little bit, we're going to go down and view the checkbook of Wayne Township and Butler County. But before I do that, I wanted to scroll down and show you another way to look at this information. Oops, scroll down too fast. As you can see, there are a lot of entities on, and it groups them by cities and villages, and you can just click on any of these and it'll go right to those different groupings. But as you can see, cities and villages, and then below that, and they're all interactive. So if you click on any of those names of the cities and villages, or probably what would be of interest to you is all the townships. You can click on any of these names like Springfield and Clark County, and it'll bring up their checkbook automatically. So it's all interactive. You just have to click on the name. So you can see there's a lot of townships. And then we go into county, schools, and on down, special districts. So I'm gonna jump to Wayne Township, and the reason why I chose that one is because it's of similar size and it's in Butler County, and so I thought it would be a good one to demo tonight. So these local government sites are a little bit different than the state site, but as you can see, it's the same concept. We've got our charts and graphs. There's actually 3 parts to this. There's the visualization part of the checkbook site here on the top, and then down below is the records section, which shows all the individual transactions, and then over here off to the side is the panel that breaks down the information in different ways. So let's talk first about the visualization part of the checkbook. Just scroll down just a tad so you can see the years. Every local government chooses how many years of data they want to display. It's totally up to the local government, so it would be up to you if you want to choose 2 years or 5 years, or we have some that have up to like 8 years. It just all depends. We require that you do at least a couple of years so it shows a little bit of history. And again, all of this is, all interactive, and these different colors show, in this particular local government, Wayne Township, they chose to break down their data by program description. So over here to the right, their programs or departments are, as you can see, highways, administration, fire protection, and on down, and then if you move the bar, you can see the remainder of those. So, your township might word things a little differently, or some people want to break down their information by object description. I mean, it just depends on how you want to do it, so that's up to you as well. So over here on the do different searches, that number's gonna change, because if I drill into just 2013, the year 2013, of course, that number's gonna change, because right now it's $3,479 and $479,224.94 for all of these fiscal years, which would be five years. And then if I, drill down, that number, of course, would recalculate. Up here at the top where it says 5,528 rows, that means that out of all these years, there are 5,528 individual transactions. And so again, if I change what I'm looking at and drill down into something, that number's gonna change as well. And then down below, these records will change depending on what you're looking at. So let's go up here and let's choose a year. Let's go into the year 2016, and all you do is click on the year. And as you can see, it breaks it down by month, which is kind of nice, because then you can drill down by month, or you can see the total over here to the left changed it to $906,000 for that particular year, is the total amount spent.
Marcy, I have a question. When you were here before, we talked about, you said that the payees their names would not show, but it is showing on that one. If you scroll down,
Let's see. Where did you mean?
well, it's showing, like, it shows the payee.
Oh, it'll show the payee, it's just not gonna show individual names. If someone's gotten a refund for something, you might not wanna put an individual name in there, so we would redact that. But yeah, we show the vendors or the payees on the check, yeah.
Because some of them I looked at didn't have them on there. Didn't have the payees on there. Is that an option to not
No,
show that?
That's a category that's always on there, yeah, that's a default category. But what happens is like, for example, a lot of townships or cities and villages have credit cards, and so instead of putting, the individual, they'll just put in the bank name. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Like, it might say Fifth Third Bank instead
No,
of.
when you were scrolling down before, it showed a trustee's name and what they were.
Monthly breakdown.
Well, some local governments, they leave the names in there, and for whatever reason, they didn't want them redacted, but we usually redact them. So, Laura Daly, for example,
You got Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm just,
yeah, that was their choice. I mean, let me just jump ahead a little bit. So when you send us your data through UAN, we build the site, it's a test site, it doesn't go live. And then, usually takes 2 or 3 days. And then we schedule with you a screen share kind of situation, which is also audio, phone call. And we walk through every piece of the site, every bit of the site, and ask you if you're happy with the way it's displaying. You can ask for various changes. We have just bare minimum things that we require. We only require, that you have 5 categories across, and it's just the basic information, the transaction date, some kind of description of whatever the fund is, the payee, the amount, and I don't even believe you have to have the object description. So, but every entity, has a different view on this, and some of them redact all the names and some don't. So this particular, I didn't work with them, but this particular township decided that didn't bother them to have the names on there, so they left them on, so. Does
Okay.
that answer your
Would
question?
that be, where there was a purchase from an individual? Or
These
that
are
would-
all expenses.
That
yes,
wouldn't be,
salaries.
any payroll information?
yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what it's saying.
definitely
It's
payroll
showing
salary.
salaries.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Our salaries are
Yeah,
elected
It doesn't
official.
give the gross salary, it's just, apparently reimbursements for
For
various
that one.
things or, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So those aren't salaries that are up there, those are just.
That's what they're
Yeah.
paid. That's what their paycheck was.
Yeah, 'cause it says salaries.
Yeah.
Yes, that's their salary.
That's what their check actually was.
The net,
Do most
The net,
townships-
yes. Thank you, Dale.
Most townships?
Yeah.
yeah, the net, not the gross.
It varies. We have some that do, and then some that just puts it in an umbrella category. So it might not say the individual names, it would just, for payee, it would just list them all the same, and it would be like employees or something. It'd be a general category.
Are all those public records?
Yes.
salaries are, yes.
Public record.
Everything is public record.
So some people just aren't as bothered about that as others, but, you know, we do have some that we help them redact that information. I mean, you've gotta have some kind of payee in there, but it could be, do you understand what I'm saying, like an umbrella type category? So, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so, back up to this, again, the way to, do a new search or whatever is you can go back just one screen, or you can reset to the beginning. And the other way to go into this, if you wanted to break down into a, specific program, like you wanted to look at the spending under their highway category, highways, then you would just click on the word highways, or you could click on the blue color
from
shows
Essential Salt.
the different
Yeah.
Could have
transactions.
been a different vendor the other years.
Right. Like if you search for Cargill, you're not
Yeah.
gonna find salt.
Right.
About 15,000 a year.
What's a square mile?
36.
36.
Same as us, same as us. But they have a few more miles of road than we do. We have one of the smallest road miles.
You could even put a check number in here and it'd bring up the check number. So it's a really great tool for, you know, drilling down to information really quickly. Let's go over here to, the side and I can show you how you can break down this information differently. So if you don't want it broken down by program description, there are all these different ways you can do it. You can change it to object description. It breaks all the information down by object description. I'm
When
sorry.
you said you could bring up a check, is it like a virtual check or is the account numbers on there?
No, none of the
Okay.
bank information, no routing numbers or anything, we would never put that out there, no. We had to do that same kind of redaction for the state treasurer's office, of course, because these are,
Right.
you know, billions of dollars, so,
So the last time you brought up a check, I was
Yeah.
trying to visually
yeah.
see if that was
No,
there or not.
we protect all private information, like even some of the libraries, if someone loses a book and then they, have to pay for that book, you know, they wanna take their name off here, so we redact all those names. We work with a company called OpenGov out of California, and all they do is build the sites for us, so they can change this information, and they do it all over the country, and they do a really good job, and our office has gotten really pretty good about changing little things too, so it happens pretty quickly. So I just wanted to show you, some other ways that you can, change this information. So, as you can see, you can scroll down and see, you could bring up payee and show a bar graph for all the vendors or the payees and all the spending. And then you can click on any of those by name, or you can click on them by color, either way, and keep drilling down by year, or, you know, however you wanna represent it. And, the other thing you can do is, this is a little bit higher level, but, you can go into aggregates, I'm gonna reset again. Oh, you can choose your columns too. And there's a default number of columns, and you all choose how many columns across you want, what kind of information you wanna get. If you don't want check numbers listed, you know, you don't leave it on there, because most citizens wouldn't really care about that. They just want the basic information. But as you can see, the boxes that are checked are the default columns across. But if you want to, just for your own search, add some of these things, like let's say you wanted to add, I don't know, a PO, a transaction date for a PO, you wanted to maybe add,
Program typing.
program description, sorry, you could add, fund description. Anyway, it would add those columns on, down below here, as you can see. So see how it added whatever you additionally checked? And it's not gonna change your site, that's just, it'll go back, when you go back to the default, that's just showing you for your own purposes there. And then when you reset it, it'll go back to the original number of columns that you started with the default. Does that make sense? Okay, and then, the aggregate tab down here, let's say you wanted to know all the vendors and how much you'd spent with each vendor. So you go into, show count, total, amount charged, we're gonna choose. Payee. And then calculate. And it shows from the one you paid the most to the least. It shows all your vendors and how much was spent with each one, which is kind of a nice tool to be able to go in and see. So, in summary, so why would anyone want to below the total number is we can add some icons down there. If you want to include like your budget or a special project or any kind of CAFR, we can add that down there for you to give people a little bigger picture. Or if you want to give them, like, let's say you get lots of questions about one particular issue or type of expense, you could do a little welcome letter or whatever, and we can hang it over there below that total, and that would educate everyone about, understanding the way the spending is represented on the website. I mean, we can do a lot of things with that. And again, there's no cost to it. We have all the platform and the mapping done, and so, like I said, it takes about 3 days once we get your data. You have UAN, it takes Connie about less than 5 minutes. All she basically does is go through 3 steps and checks the box. Because we've worked with the auditor's office, and so they've made it really easy to upload the data. And you choose how many years. We build the test site in about 3 days. And then we contact you and offer a screen share kind of review of the information on the test site. You can have as many people involved as you want, and we walk you through it, find out if you want any changes made, and we don't make the site live until we have the total written approval from whomever, trustees, everybody that needs to approve it.
In the day-to-day operation, how much additional work does this put on like the fiscal officer?
Most people choose how often they want to update. And with UAN, it's real easy to update yearly, but we have quite a few people that want to do it more often, like quarterly. And so they just send the data to our office. There's a template, and you basically drag and click and send it over to our office, and it takes, like today, I sent someone's information over, and they had it updated in a couple of hours. I sent it back to her. She checked it. She said, I'm good with that.
Okay,
And
so most of it is already held in a database, like at a township,
It's in the UAN database.
and they would just forward that to you, and you're hosting it,
Well,
obviously,
Connie has to go
publishing
in
it.
and, authorize it, because she has
Yeah.
her own password and
Yeah.
everything, so, yeah. But it takes, the update is as easy as the original sitting on the day.
Okay.
So there are some townships that only do this yearly?
Yes.
Okay, I guess
You know,
I,
the end of the year UAN report, there's a
Right.
little box you can check, and they choose to do it yearly, but we have a lot that do it more often.
okay,
I'd say quarterly is the most prevalent.
okay, because I know when I looked at some of the townships around us that were in there, most of them had nothing in there for 2018, and to me, that's, if I wanted to know something as a citizen of Morgan Township, I'd want to know what they did this year. I wouldn't care what they did last year.
Right, that's a very good point. And in fact, that's what we have 6 reps around the state. That's our job in the next 2 months is go in and say, please update your site. All we can do is ask them to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So some of them I noticed that too, because I was looking through to see which ones I wanted to demo, and some of them were kind of behind. So we are calling them and trying to get them to update.
So with the data that comes out of the UAN system that's transferred to your team, does it have account numbers and things like that in it from that UAN software?
Once we redact the information initially, when they update the data, they redact the same kind of information again.
So how does that get from like Connie to you? Is it electronically
It goes
transferred?
through UAN, so we get it at our office through UAN.
Just thinking of the security of.
Thank
all
you,
that
Chris.
data going
That's what I was thinking too.
That's,
is
yeah, that's my concern
The
too, is the
security.
security.
The secured entity is
It's totally,
UAN.
through UAN and the auditor's office, because we have a lot of townships. A lot of them use UAN.
Yeah, that,
And it's static information, it's not real time, so, it's there, I mean, it's not changing, it is what it is, and we don't manipulate the data, we represent it the way it's sent to us, other than, when you ask us to read that. And if you decide after you see the test web or test site that you don't wanna do it, that's fine, there's no contract. This is totally voluntary.
okay. I guess my concern at this time of year is I'm coming up on end of the year, which is my busiest time. I don't want to take on another project right now because December, January, and February, and the end of November, that's, that's a fiscal officer's busiest time of year.
I understand, but it's less than 5 minutes. I mean, I would even stop by, sit next to you, and take 5 minutes of your time, and it would be done. I don't think I need to do that, but I'm happy to do that if you'd like. I mean, it's less than 5 minutes.
It has to take more than that to set everything up, Marcy.
No, it doesn't. I go and meet with people all the time. It's 3 steps.
I would think your biggest time constraint here would be reviewing the site with the committee or whoever to determine how much
Right.
transparency you want to have. It may only take, 5-10 minutes of your time to get the data out, but then do you find a lot of people choose to redact at like a payee level or like an
They
object
usually
level?
have us redact it because we can do it so quickly because we do it all the time. They just tell us, this column, we don't want this to show. And, it takes just a few minutes to explain that to us, and we do it all the time.
I was just wondering, like, if we said we didn't want the individual salary information, for example, in there, do you lump that, you see a large bucket of salary for the
Exactly.
trustees, you don't see the individual, what each trustee's individual
Right, we put it
number?
under an umbrella type category.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
And if you think of any, Connie has my information, I'll have another card. Feel free to call me, or I'm happy to take any calls from any of the trustees.
Wait till Tom comes back. Let's wait till Tom comes back around this.
All right, well, thank you.
Oh, and by the way, there are only 3 townships in this county that haven't joined us. So, we'll just look there, you all, and the Heron.
Riley.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, anyone else from the audience tonight? If not, Mr. Marshall.
All right, thank you.
Do you want another?
Yeah, you better, I don't think I ever got the card.
On the Fairview Cemetery, I've not heard back from Roger Gates on the easement. I'm going to be calling the engineer's office to see if I can get an answer through them. That's the A portion. The B portion, I'd like to table until Tom is returned, so that would be in the next meeting. Hopefully, the revision for 7 and 7A and 7B will be sent to the Butler County Planning Commission by Friday, hopefully. On the zoning fees, you asked me to go back to the zoning department and find out exactly why they didn't want to raise all of them. Basically, as it says in the letter, the zoning commission discussed the raising of the other fees and determined that the fees that were not raised were for certificates that zoning administrator did not necessarily have to follow up with. The swimming pools, the fences. I don't go out and make, I could do a quick inspection of them, but it doesn't take that much of my time. And they felt like they were raising enough the others. They did go ahead and raise the mobile home replacement, as you can see on the chart. And they did go ahead and raise the commercial signs from, the mobile home replacement was at $35. They want to take it up to $100. Commercial sign was at $35, and they're just doubling it. We also talked about maybe doing a scale of the large business signs, but how many more new businesses may we have or get? We could just bring that on a little later. Any questions on this at all?
Hey, Dale, I do have one on the solar panel. So if what you're saying is that if I have a direct dish put in my yard, there's no cost to that. But if I have a solar panel, which might, depending on how the size, it would be $200. So that's the question.
The reason being is that we are treating it as an accessory structure, which
Not
then.
on the roof. If it's on the roof,
If it's not on the roof, If it's not on the roof, it's being treated as an accessory structure. That, any accessory structure needs to meet the setback requirements for that particular piece of property. That's why we're doing that.
Okay, I got the setback.
Okay, all right, and that's the biggest reason. On a dish, who has the big dishes anymore?
Well, even a small dish, you could have a small, the typical solar panel, what would be, maybe 3 by 5, if it would be
No.
I've got one coming in that's 60 feet long.
60 feet long.
Yep,
So
or something like that. I know it's 25 feet. I know it has to be 25 feet from the side
You're
yard.
thinking like the little temporary little solar panels. Usually when they do these, you'll see fields, you'll see a whole roof,
Yeah,
or you'll see them built in panels. They're
the
big
one that's,
structures.
the
So
one that's
there's
going
a
to go in,
You're gonna
there's,
cite a size, you're gonna look at this and say, if you're over a certain size, you're gonna get the $200 bill.
no, if you put it on the ground,
Any size.
any size. If you put it on the roof, I don't care, huh?
A 3x3 panel, if you went to
If you're making a solid structure, for one, yes. If you're just doing a little temporary one, they're probably not gonna say a word
If you
to
put a 3 by 3 panel in the ground in concrete, you're gonna pay $200. Yes.
What are you gonna use a solar panel 3x3 to charge? Your phone?
I do
I mean,
anything you,
I'm not
anything you
being
want.
stupid,
Well, I'm
it-
saying
it's-
how,
It's a legitimate question, though, I mean, but yes, the likelihood of someone only putting a 3x3, but there are people that just put small for RVs, and I know that that's a temporary thing, but let's say that somebody just wants to run something in their barn, they don't want it on their roof, don't want it attached, and they want it set out in the yard, and it's in the middle of the yard, but you're still gonna charge them $100 for that?
200.
200.
you could do a 3 by 3 for a security light panel. You know, size is gonna get you every time if you don't specify
Now,
that
I
size.
can understand 60-foot long and 8-foot tall, I mean, yeah, that's like a structure, that's like a building, but, and I understand that the likelihood of that happening at 3 by 5, but, I mean, you gotta look at everything here, I mean,
So that's the question that I have, Dale.
Well, I mean, I can take that back to them on this, but I feel that the structure that's pushing this the most is one that is at least 25 feet long, okay?
I can
It's-
understand that,
and it's
'cause
gonna
that's
be
like the
sitting out
size
there
of
on.
a storage shed or
Yeah,
something, I can
and it's going to be
understand
sitting
that.
out. I mean, we can go in and put limits on it if it's a certain size, if it's just one panel or 2 panels, like you said, Rob, in terms of running an RV off of it or something like that. Well, they shouldn't be because,
Usually if they're running an
An
RV, it's only
RV
gonna be
is-
there temporary anyway.
right.
I understand that.
And then, but if they were running their barn lights or something, I could understand that. You know, enough to run their barn lights or whatever they might need in way of electricity for a barn. We,
Well, now, let's say that, and I know I'm getting hypothetical, but a farmer decides he wants to put a 10-foot long by 5-foot tall panel up to run electric fence. Is he still gonna have to pay it too?
first of
Because
all, I
he's
have to
agricultural.
query the electric fence, but,
I say most of them are just a little itty bitty solar thing for the electric fences.
Well, I understand that. I've been around cattle all my life and.
and
most
besides,
of
you've
them
only
is
got one
but
strand.
You
You're only
never
allowed,
know. I mean, you gotta think of everything here.
you're only allowed one strand across the fence to begin with.
Your high tensile fence, there's usually 3 stands in a high tensile fence, which is, there's usually 6 strands of smooth wire going down, and usually at 2 foot, 4 foot, and 5 foot, there is an electric strand in high tensile fence. A lot of horse farmers use those. You need bigger than just what I've used on a cattle farm. It's a solar panel. It's only about a notebook size. It's the size of that. Most things on a what you're used to seeing, I'm used to seeing, but I'm just saying there's gonna be somebody push the envelope. And you never know. Technology, look at all the stuff that's happening nowadays.
Which usually makes it smaller.
Okay.
Which is,
Am I right?
Well, again, here's the thing, if you're gonna run a setup like that, where you got 6 panels and all this other stuff, I mean, that's gonna be $50,000. Who cares about $200 for a permit? I mean, that's the thing.
I'm not talking about big stuff, I'm talking about little stuff, 3x3 or whatever, and like what you can get to run your RV.
I don't think
But
that's
what
gonna
if somebody-
fall under what we're talking about. It's a big structure for.
the ones that are being installed here in Morgan Township come from companies, okay?
Well, and
And
that, I
that's-
understand, that's what it should be,
Well, that
is
could
if
be in
you're
the
having
actual-
something that is 5 foot tall by 60 foot long, yes, you need that. But what are you gonna do about somebody if they come to you and the likelihood is slim to none, I understand that.
Right,
I
But
think
you still need to have something in there to address that,
that
because
would
that's
be-
part of what some of our zoning stuff is lacking, is people thinking outside the box and down the road, I mean.
That will be in the actual writing of the zoning. That will not be on a permit one.
the allowability of where you have
So I
to
think
pay a
you're-
fee.
Confusing the two.
Well, this fee schedule then is misrepresenting the argument then. Because everything else, you guys, accessory structure under 500 feet and over 500 feet for X. Now you've got a solar panel for $200. So you have to be more specific here somehow to have this discussion. So that's where.
I
That's
understand,
what I'm saying, Dale.
we can make
We're
it
saying the same
specific, if you would.
That's exactly what I was getting at, and I guess I wasn't getting my point across.
No, you were,
But-
Rob, but it's just that, I'm also
You
playing
were, but
devil's
I
advocate
think
here.
what you're wanting will be in the structure, not on a pay chart. This here is just given two different references for those.
We haven't,
You have an accessory structure. Anything over 500 square feet is 200. Anything under 500 square feet is 100. This one here has got the solar panels that are not on the roof. They're the big structures. And then that'll probably be in the writing of where it goes in the zoning. This is just like a
because the
chart for the
fees,
fees.
the fees are different than the
You're not
zoning
gonna have the
itself.
details in the fee chart.
Of course, if I'm gonna put solar panels, I'm gonna put them on my barn roof, and that way I don't have to pay for the thing, and then it also would help.
Well, that's
save
what
my
we're
roof.
hoping. That's what we're hoping, is if you're gonna put them on there, I mean, you got your barn roof up there doing nothing unless it's collecting some water for you or something like that.
Well, it's shedding water for me, but
Well,
yep,
but you could have it collect water for you.
Yes.
absolutely right.
Does that make more sense?
I'm done being difficult, have a good night.
No,
What if you were to look at how it's actually attached, right? If you're talking about a large structure, more than likely it's gonna be anchored to the ground in some way, shape, or form. Whereas, you know, if it's quote portable, right, for a RV or something, it may not be actually mounted or
right, this,
fixed to the ground.
that's our intention, is to be exactly the way you just said it. If it is placed on the ground in the upright angled position it needs for the setting of the sun on the particular lot, or the sun to hit it on the particular lot, then the $200 is viable. If you put it on the roof of something, I don't care how big you make it.
And that, I guess, what's the difference between the fee schedule with what Jeff was saying? If it's over X amount, it's this fee, if it's under X amount.
We don't have a difference there. They weren't, the commission was just
The difference they're talking about is a total different fee for
Fee.
accessory structures.
structures.
Has nothing to do with solar panels.
See, in an
And
accessory
they're just given
structure.
two different sizes for two different permits.
Right.
So you,
Well,
This
that-
price
that-
is for
that-
this,
that
this
puts
price
my
is for-
point is, why don't you have the same for a solar panel? The bigger the solar panel, the more you pay. The smaller the solar panel, the less you pay. That's kinda hit my point right there. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, if they only put in a 5 foot by 10 foot, it's $50 or something like that.
On the agricultural side, I probably couldn't even touch it because it's agriculture. And if a farmer went out there and put a 10 by 3-panel out there or something, you
For
know.
his farm, we
On a
probably
farm,
can't
what
touch
could I do about it? I couldn't touch him anyway. But if you put it on your house, like the 2 residents that I know of so far in the township are doing it, and they're putting one that's going to be about as long as this desk, then that $200 is there. Okay?
Even
Because
though we put it
remember,
on the roof?
they're going to go off the grid,
not on the roof.
basically. It's not
Oh,
on the roof.
they're putting on the ground, okay.
They're
I
putting
agree
them
with
on the
that.
ground,
I agree with that.
okay?
100%.
See, I think you're thinking all the little ones that's not even really relevant. Like the
But
little
if you-
solar lights and different.
If it goes on the
But
ground.
you're still saying solar panels, so. Yeah, God. I'm trying to hit a point that it's not coming through up here. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, is the size matters.
I will tell you this, about a year and a half ago, the zoning, well, I was on the zoning commission even before. We sat down and we wrote a whole beautiful paragraph on solar panels, okay? I mean, it took us 3 or 4 meetings, I think, to get that thing worked out. Ed took it over to Roger Gates, and Roger Gates's biggest response is, what are you trying to be, the pretty police? Okay? Because we were being exact about the angle, we were also being about the size and everything else, all right? I don't know, and so, and the fees would have gone along with it and everything else. So we're probably gonna have to let us look at it, okay? And then we can come back, I'll come back with you on the solar panel stuff, trustees, okay? And give you maybe a range of sizes and stuff like that when I get to know more about what kind of sizes they're being done here in the township, okay? But if you would please, excluding the solar panel, approve this particular list tonight, unless you have any other questions on it, I would appreciate it. But it will not go in effect until 2019.
I think one of the things you're missing is this is just a fee schedule. All your rules are gonna be in the other parts of the book.
Yeah, but the fee schedule needs to reflect those other parts.
I agree with Rob, you can't just say solar
Okay.
panel, $200, no matter what size it is. Not that I have a vote, but
Can, I mean, is the difference in what Rob, what you're talking about, the smaller solar panels may be lifted and moved?
Maybe that's the
Like,
criteria.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a structure, it's not a permanent fixture.
But
But
that
then-
doesn't
but
say
then
that. It
If you
just
go
says
and you
solar
put in
panel.
a solar farm and you have 10 foot tall by 60 foot long, you're still only gonna be $200?
Per
Where's the
solar
point?
panel.
Probably going on an agricultural piece of property, correct?
There's a whole different world out there on
My
that.
property's not agriculture, what if I wanna do that? As long as I meet the setbacks.
Do you have enough to put,
I got 6 acres, I got,
But, I will also say this, Rob,
Charge different based on the size of the house somebody's building. If they build, if the run fee at 6,000 square feet, they the same building permit
Right.
as a trailer. It doesn't differentiate there. I don't
it
understand.
wouldn't differentiate there, but I'll tell you where it would.
$100 is $200.
Not here, but in the county.
Yeah, the county will kill you.
The county's gonna kill you if you're building 10 by 60. You know, if you
I
put
can
in a
vouch for
number,
that one.
if you're doing a farm, there's a whole new set of regulations on the farm.
okay, well, I'll buy that on
And
your-
that goes to the
on your
state and the
argument
county.
that what you don't charge him for your house, so, okay, I got
I
that.
don't see the difference
That's-
fundamentally.
That's in stone, or that's spelled out perfectly to me right there.
I speak in stone.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna,
Moses.
what size aggregate?
I speak fluent stone.
73s. 73s, that's
okay, I think we've hammered this enough, okay? We
Okay.
chiseled away at it anyway. All right.
And I just wanna put on the record that I'm not coming after you, Dale. It's-
You're not, Rob.
I'm
I
not
don't
meaning
feel
to
that way.
Give you a hard
Okay.
time.
You're not giving me a hard
I just
time.
wanna make sure that, I don't know what I wanna do, so I'll just shut up, so. But I'm not coming after you personally, so please don't take it that way.
No, I know that. Okay. All right. So, you want to wait until to the first November meeting, or till I can work something
Yeah,
out?
we can table it, it's not like it's in a big hurry, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right, so we'll table that till the next meeting, and I will discuss it with the zoning people as to what sizes we could be making. Yeah, you better, because I'll have all
You've had
five
too
of them.
many
I'm
already.
gonna have all five of them come after you, Rob. I'll have all five of them come after you. The November zoning meeting will be Wednesday, the 14th, instead of the 21st, because the 21st comes right before Thanksgiving, so we moved it to the 14th. And number 5, the final notice was sent out on a non-compliance issue. Further action will happen if there's no response after October 31st, okay?
Is that the Bell Road, or
No.
which one's this?
We were,
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
okay,
Yes,
the non-compliance issue.
I forgot about that one.
And I'm in no need of an executive session tonight anyway. That's all I have, unless you have any other questions for me.
Nope, good, thank you, sir. Mr. Brown?
I'm afraid to speak now. Can I generate some money so I can pave some roads? So
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, so I can stay alive in the zoning world too, okay?
Number one on the sheets that I gave you there is we've been doing some rebasing on Northwire Road. We need about 2 more days to finish up, but we've had other projects that we're trying to get put in there and stuff. Today, we put in a driveway pipe for, and I can't even pronounce the guy's name, but.
Gundelsberger.
Joe.
Joe.
Joe. We'll just call him Mr. Joe for now.
Mr. Joe, we put in a drive pipe for him. He gave us the check to pay for the pipe and the concrete. However, we've come to an understanding that we're gonna wait till next spring to do the concrete to make sure that everything is settled. That way, when we pour the concrete, it doesn't settle any, it's all good to go, and he is in agreement with that, but he went ahead and gave us a check to pay for the concrete and for the pipe. We got that installed today, and there's just a little bit that Mark and Steve gotta go back tomorrow on the catch basin. We redid the top on the catch basin. We did not put a full box culvert or a box catch basin in. We left the T that was there, the 15-inch T, but instead of having just a small grate that had small tiny holes, we went and got a regular 4x4 catch basin top with the grate. We dug around it. We compacted gravel in around it because that's all settled. We just dug down to 4 inches to set that, put some gravel on it, compacted that, and then we're gonna pour cement inside that to make a bowl, so when the water drops down in it, it runs right to the catch basin, drops down in there. The T that is there is 15-inch. That's what comes under the road. That's what goes out through his driveway. It's all 15-inch smooth bore, so everything is smooth black plastic, so it all should just shoot right through and come out. There should not be a problem. The other reason why we're not putting the concrete is just in case that does not work. We don't have to redo concrete if we have to put a bigger pipe in.
Some guy left his car out here. The police ended up coming and getting him, took him to the hospital, and he just came back into his car.
Right, yeah, that was today.
Yeah, so he thought we had his keys. We'd taken the keys from him.
The sheriff had the keys the last time I saw him.
Doesn't sound quite right.
No, that's
Doesn't
when they
seem
took him to the
quite right.
hospital.
Well, they let him out.
Okay.
Thanks for the warning. Well, are you gonna pour, where the drop-down box, are you gonna pour that concrete this season, right now?
Yeah, now that we are going to pour, it. That's part of the catch basin.
Yeah.
That's away from the driveway. They're gonna do that tomorrow. And that's not gonna take very much at all to do that. That's just, basically, there's a 4x4 square with a grate on top.
Yeah.
But down in the bottom of that, the collar to the catch basin sticking up 4 inches. They're gonna cut that off so that is level with the ground. And then they're gonna pour the concrete all inside there and taper it to that hole. So when the water drops in that grate, it all runs across that concrete, drops down in the,
It's not gonna take much concrete to do that. is it?
maybe a wheelbarrow load. And they're just gonna buy Saccrete and mix it up and.
Oh, good. Well, then my other question is, if we take Joe's $800, would we just go ahead and deposit that? Or would it be better to say, hold on to your check and pay us next year when we do the work?
But we've had to pay for the pipe.
Well, the pipe was on us, if I'm not. they
No,
agreed to
no.
We
concrete.
went to him for everything and he
Oh,
agreed
okay.
to everything to pay
Okay.
for the pipe and pay for the concrete.
Okay.
The pipe was $324, something like that, and the concrete was $550, cause it was, but it was only a couple yards of concrete, but I have to pay a small load fee. That's why it's $550, cause it's only $110 a yard for concrete, but if you have less than 5 yards, you gotta pay a $250 delivery fee. So that's why it was $550 for the concrete, $324 for the pipe, so it was $874 and some change. But he gave Connie the check today, so.
Yeah, if you hold it too long, the check will go void.
Right. But it is I gave him an invoice that stated that is there, so if we don't do the concrete, he can come back and say, I gave you an invoice to do concrete, I need my concrete done, so.
Okay.
The only other thing we could do is just have him write a check for the pipe and then have him pay for the concrete next year.
That's the way he wanted to do it,
Okay,
so I
that's
mean,
fine.
I mean, this way we can do it as soon as we've got the money, we don't have to wait for him to pay or whatever, so we're good. As far as I'm concerned, that's the way we ought to just stick with. I mean,
It's good with me.
Okay.
Already done.
and then in order to finish the rebasing spots on North Wire Road, I need an additional PO for $3,500 to Mount Pleasant Blacktop.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then I'm going to a training at ODOT tomorrow for ice control, new techniques and stuff, so. And then, November 3rd, or November 6th, I can't remember now what day it is. The 1st or 3rd is the county snowplow rodeo, so we're all gonna be going to that, but that's usually just, they go over some safety things and then we'd have the rodeo, and that counts as a continuing ed training with the insurance and stuff. But the thing I'm going to at ODOT was give you different ratios for salt brine and beet juice and other things.
Speaking of that, how are we setting on Ice Be Gone and our mixture?
Right now, we've got plenty right now. There's 430 gallons of Ice Be Gone out there. I got about 2,800 gallons of beet juice, salt brine mix out there. And I'm not gonna order that until I can use a whole 4,000 gallon tanker, so.
Yep.
And the salt barn is full.
Sounds good to me.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Griffith?
Just a couple brief comments. I know Tom talked about staffing last time. Staffing's stabilized now. Lieutenant Galloway's back covering some shifts for me. She's there, matter of fact, tonight. And Tony Schroeder's back from deployment. He'll start covering shifts in about for 4 or 5 days. So it's stabilized. We had nothing less than 1 paramedic and 3 on the whole time so far. So that has relatively stabilized, but we'll see what tomorrow brings, because the call-in's the flu. There's 2 types of flu running around. There's an intestinal flu and also a respiratory flu. So be careful, get your flu shots.
Really?
Yes, there's 2 big ones going on. And Penny's setting up flu shots here. I think tentatively it's November 1st, 4 to 6, but she'll send it out when she's got it nailed down. But Mercy will be over providing them for anybody who's interested. And that's really all I have. Chief's I'm talking to him back and forth. He's working on the schedule for me. He likes staffing and he can have it, so he's been.
He was jumping at the bit.
Yeah, he was talking about bits, so I said, could you do staffing, and then I'll worry about the rest. So he's working on the December schedule and some other things, but he's doing real well, and he goes to Dr. Thursday. We'll find out more then, but I know he can't drive for at least another month, because airbags and fresh cabbage, yeah, he's got his little pillow. So he's doing real well, though. That's all I have, unless you have other questions.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. All right, Ms. Reinhardt.
Okay. First of all, I received a letter from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. They're wanting to do a transfer from Country Barrel LLC to HM Partners, the second LLC. And I just need to know if we want to have a hearing for this. I personally don't know why we would, but I have to fill this out and send it back to them and let them know.
I assume someone's either taking over the Country Barrel?
They're renting it, yes.
They're renting it.
I heard it was. I didn't know that it
Yeah.
actually had happened.
I think they bought the business, right? That's what they told me. They bought the business.
I
and
don't
guess
know. I
they're
haven't talked to them.
Perhaps renting the facility or.
And I understand they have several, or one other facility over in northern Kentucky that is a full bar as well. So, I mean, you know, that's at least my knowledge of that, by just going down and kind of poking around down in Okeana and asking some questions about them and stuff.
I see no need for a
Okay.
hearing. We haven't done any of them here, and we
Right.
haven't had any
No
major
issues.
problems, so.
Okay,
Well, I'm sure that if anything shows up in their Kentucky license, because I understand it's a full bar restaurant that they have in Kentucky, that it would show up if the state looks into them at all.
okay, the other thing I have, I received a letter from OPEC, which is part of our insurance from the Ohio Insurance Company. The OPEC covers our vision and our dental and our life insurance, and we just have to let them know if we want to continue next year. And along with that, they let me know that the vision will go up, will be a 10% increase, but the dental will not have an increase. And so that the increase of 10% is only $15 and a penny per month. Our vision is our lowest coverage that we have. So I just need to know, get your okay that it's, that we want to continue with this. And if not, then we'll have to go back to Frank and find another way to do this.
But they're all three, vision, dental, life, are all rolled into this.
Yes.
There's a 15 increase on the vision.
On the vision.
So, do we use, is the vision used? Is that,
I just used it, yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, I think all of us, I've had several people ask me about the vision, so,
And is that, now obviously that's 15
Per month.
Per person,
no,
per insurance, 15 for every,
for everybody. The increase is $15.01 per month for all of us. As I said, our
So
vision,
you're looking about $200 a year.
yeah,
no problem here.
yeah,
I'm
so
all right with it.
our vision insurance is our least expensive that we have. Okay? Last is, I received the resolution, if you remember, when Brenda was here the last time from Dinsmore, and we
Yes.
decided to go ahead with the reimbursement resolution. I emailed all of you a copy of that so that you had it ahead of time, and then I've given you a printed copy. I'm gonna kill the trees that Jeff didn't kill tonight.
Yes, you are.
So I just need a resolution to pass this as written, I guess. I don't, it's up to you guys.
Say you want me to read this whole
Yeah.
thing?
I don't see
Because I
the,
read it once before.
Oh, boy.
see a
3
reason
pages.
to, yeah, it's 3 pages. And I can put the entire thing in the minutes so that it's there if anyone wants to read what we're doing, but
All right, I'll read the first part. I'll make a motion to approve, the Morgan Township Board of Trustees from County of Butler, Ohio, met on session the 23rd day of October 2018 at the office of said board with the following members present. And then the resolution, I'll read the first part of it, and I don't know what the number's gonna be.
what will the number be, Carol?
106.
Okay.
So
106.
106-2018, a resolution declaring official intent with respect to reimbursements of temporary advances made for expenditures for capital improvements for public infrastructure improvements for the fire station project in the township in physical years 2018 and 2019 to be made from
Subsequent.
what is it?
Subsequent.
Subsequent borrowings. And the rest of this as written.
Second,
Mr. Updike,
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
3
you.
pages painful.
Thank God you didn't read that all.
Resolution has passed.
I'd be asking her for half the words.
We're here for you.
Next time I'll become your reader then, okay?
That's all I have. If you haven't checked the mailbox, check your mailbox back there. And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, tonight, the only thing I have is, I talked to Tom Perry, the principal up at Morgan Township, and asked him about if he could spread the word, if they would be willing to put together a display for our historic society. Tom might have already talked to somebody. He was gonna mention that last week, that he was gonna reach out, so.
Is this the elementary?
The feelers are out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said he'd let me know in
You
perhaps
mean for our
a week or
display
two.
case, not
For our
the History
display case.
Society, right?
Display case, yeah.
Yeah. You said History Society, that's why I asked that.
Yeah, I got Jill Evans on my mind, I think. So I know she has been pressing us to get an update. So more news to follow. And that's all I got.
Alright, the only other thing I got is I'd like to see, I believe you finally got that from the county engineer's office on the grant project to move forward, am I correct, Rob?
Discussed today, I put it in Connie's office, so, it's in a safe place, but all the work agreements, all the literature stuff, so the 3 trustees need to get together and see about going and getting all those signed and stuff by all the property owners. There's 4 property owners now, because we're now crossing the street, going down the east side of the road with an additional pipe for the overflow. They're leaving the
I thought it was
box
same.
culvert,
Okay,
they're leaving the box culvert at the intersection of Oakland and Druidsburg and Church.
correct?
It's still gonna go there, make a 90.
Yep.
But they're putting a smaller pipe as an overflow right where it comes out of the field across Fegley's yard. That way it goes into the end of it. When the water gets really high, as an overflow to help alleviate it backing up at the corner. So they're crossing over the road and coming down the east side. And I got the full drawings in there, the blueprints, or not the blueprints, but the drawings of everything, of how it's all supposed to go, as part of that paperwork that was given to me.
So who's the 4th one? Cause I thought
Mrs.
Bagley
Waddell.
owned both of those.
No, Mrs. Waddell's on the east side of the road. Bagley is the west side of the road, and when it crosses the road, it crosses into Mrs. Waddell's property, not John Bagley.
I kept thinking that was his all the way down. Alright, that's where I couldn't, alright.
So,
I guess I'll get hold of Tom and then I'll see when all 3 of us can there, and I don't know if we wanna try to meet at their properties or have them all meet here.
that's up to you guys, but
probably do individual though.
But before you get with them, I would like to explain to you how all the paperwork is to work, what all you need. They need to, there's copies for them to keep, but there's also copies that we need to get signed and stuff, and that all has to go back to the engineer's office. Each property owner has their own folder with all the paperwork needed for each property. So
Okay.
there's one big folder that has all 4 folders in it with all the paperwork. And then there's a description that says what is a work agreement and what is an easement.
So they could do 2 different ways.
No,
No, it has to
they
It
gotta
has to
do
be
both
both of 'em.
ways. They gotta do an easement, but they also have to do a work agreement that allows us to do everything, because we might have to get off the easement to do the work.
Okay, gotcha.
So they have to have both. They have to have a work agreement and an easement. And then with Witzelbacher, most of his is just the easement, because we're not going beyond the utility poles. Mr. Witzelbacher was worried that we was moving the utility poles out in his field. We are not, because they are already out in his field. This is just making where all those poles are now in the easement instead of out in his field. I don't think he ever realized that. He will now, once we go and show him all this, but it's just, he can't farm any closer to the road anyway because of the ditch that's there already. But it's just making it where all the poles and everything are in the easement, not out on his private property as they are right now.
So why don't I see when Tom gets back, because I don't know what date he comes back, do you? As soon as he comes back, I say the 3 of us and probably you all get together and go through all this.
Yeah, probably, hopefully before the weather changes, gets too bad. Chris, do you know when your dad's coming back?
I think he'll be back at the end of this week, but I don't know what his travel arrangements are next week.
Yeah, but I think he has to go out of town next week too. I think he has to go to Vermont next week.
Bagley, Witzelbacher,
And then after that, he'll be home
Cameron.
until Thanksgiving.
Kammer.
I think that's what he told me yesterday.
I'll get with you and we'll see when we can all get together.
That's good.
Move forward. The only other thing I had is the Ohio Township legislative alerts. I guess that the PUCO now is trying to get local governments to join with the railroads to fund doing crossing signs. In other words, have us pay part of that signage. Was used to be all, that was their right of way, theirs, you couldn't touch it. So I think that's kind of egg in the face.
I agree.
To us or to the railroads?
us.
And then another thing that they had in there was, for Ohio, Fix Our Roads Ohio, Road Coalition ramping up to address several shortfalls for transportation. In other words, they're basically saying how all these townships and all these people are, the money's not there to put in to doing the roads the way we'd like to have them done. And they're asking to, basically get your state reps and all them involved and saying, hey, you've got our money back. This is gonna come down the road to get us.
I like the fact that it even says to take your reps out to the roads and show them what they are.
Yeah, make them drive the
Make 'em
roads. with
drive
you.
the roads and everything. I was really interested in that whole thing.
So it ain't just us that's showing the shortage on the money for the roads. It's across the state. Seemed like there was one other thing, but I think that's it. Other than that, anybody else got anything?
Nope.
If not, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Stop.